Boston Celtics like to stand around. They don't have players cutting to the basket when their defender looks the wrong way. They don't have these constant motion offenses like Golden State. And they certainly don't have these nice little pieces that Indiana has that have 3 or 4 players involved in an offense. And that's because Boston probably have the best starting 5 in the league. And most importantly for this video, a starting 5 who all enjoy shooting a 3. Which means the team's been able to keep their offense pretty simple. They got their favorite option, one-on-one attacking your defender. You either score, or if the help comes, you kick it out and you drain the 3. Hopefully. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, you get the pick and roll action going. Attack your man again, draw the help defense, kick it out, and swing the ball to the 3-point shooter as the help defense scrambles, unable to defend everyone. And let's be honest, they are good at this. They're good at finding the mismatch, such as you see here with the much bigger Brown posting up Brunson, which forces the help defense to come again. But if that 3-pointer isn't hitting, they don't have another gear to make sure they see that ball drop into the basket, which psychologically is a big deal just to get the rhythm going again. And when I say they don't have that gear, well, they do. It's just pretty rare. If I take you back to game 2, where they had that 8-minute span with no field goals in the fourth quarter, we find this nice little play where Pritchard attacks off the Horford handoff, finds Tatum in motion, who's able to drive to the basket for a dunk. But if we rewind here, look what happens. While you were probably watching the pick and roll, look at how Porzingis is moving. He points to Tatum and then goes and sets a back screen on his man. Robinson is in no position to switch and he gets the nice little drive to the basket. It's important to note here that Pritchard makes this work by kind of slowing down, taking extra dribble in the keyway, but this isn't perfect timing by Celtics by any means. It's just kind of like a happy accident that Porzingis starts calling for this back screen as Pritchard attacks his man, leaving the gap between Robinson and Porzingis, which the ball finds Tatum through, and he's got too much momentum to the basket. The other play I really liked from game 2 in the Celtics is this one here, where you see it's again their simple pick and roll action that they do a lot, except with a wrinkle. Pritchard's going to set a back screen for the screener, which means Cat can't get to Luke Cornett, who has a wide open lane here. Derek White doesn't hit him and takes the difficult shot over Brunson, which I think again shows that this isn't something they've run a lot and they're really comfortable with the options here, because look at the screen right now. I'd be giving it to Luke Cornett, and even if he doesn't have the lane, he has a much easier and wide open pass to Jason Tatum in the corner as a potential worse shot you're getting in a situation where you're not hitting all your threes. And that's exactly where you need these off-ball screens and off-ball movements. You make the switches and the help defense so much more difficult. Look at these clips from this 8-minute stretch where the Celtics didn't score once. The help defense is so easy. It's impossible for the Celtics players to get at the ring because it's just there. Yes, they give up threes, but if the threes aren't going in, what is your next option? And the Celtics have it. I just broke down 2 plays from earlier in this exact game, but they didn't do a single one in this 8-minute period where they couldn't see the ball go through the ring on the field. Jumping across to game 3, Boston were in phenomenal form, shooting 50% from 3-point land. Game 4, they came out swinging, going 9 of 14 in the first quarter, and then 9 of 34 for the rest of the game, including a particularly poor shooting second quarter. They came out after halftime and ran 2 beautiful plays, making me think that they'd learnt from their mistakes in game 1 and 2. The first one is so subtle, but it's awesome to see how it affects the play. Drew Holiday setting an off-the-ball screen for Horford, who's going to come and set a screen for Tatum. What this does is Cat is trying to fight over this screen and actually loses Horford for a little bit, which means when Horford eventually does set his screen on Tatum, Karl-Anthony Towns is not in a position to show high or contain Tatum, which means the Bridges, the defender who swapped onto Holiday, is forced to hedge off his man to make sure Tatum doesn't attack the ring himself, which leaves Holiday open to cut behind him and receive the pass from Jason Tatum. And it's this very subtle movement at the beginning with the off-the-ball screen for Horford, but these off-the-ball movements is what I've been talking about this whole video. They're so important for creating extra opportunities that you don't get by standing still. The second one comes 3 minutes later and is directed courtesy of Al Horford, who, once he's signaled Holiday to the corner, sets an off-the-ball screen for Tatum to attack the basket. The pass doesn't get there from White, but Tatum straight away turns around and sets a back screen for White, who's given the ball to Horford in the meantime. And what this creates is this important moment here, where White directs Brunson to the screen, and Brunson decides to cheat underneath it. thinking that White is going to dive to the basket and catch the ball over the top. Instead, White reads this, pops out, and drains the three-pointer. I think what's interesting here is if you ask Bronson to watch the tape, he'd say, yeah, I should just switch with Anunoby if he does dive over the top. But because of this movement that Boston's creating, the defenders are forced to make on-the-spot split-second decisions, such as what Brunson did here, which forces mistakes. When you're standing around, it's much easier for players to think about what they're going to do and defend accordingly. So I love this movement from Boston, and I really hope to see more of it as the series progresses. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.